Well, here I am with Venu Srinivasan, who is the president of the Confederation of Indian Industry. The CBI, as it's called, bring a delegation of very senior executives every year to London at this time. This year has been particularly important because of the recent elections in India, and we've been delighted to have with Mr. Srinivasan and his delegation the Minister for Commerce and Industry, Anand Sharma, who's just been addressing a CII conference here in London. So I wanted to ask you, Mr. Srinivasan, in these difficult global times, what is the mood in India, and what is your delegation coming to tell industry in the United Kingdom?
The mood in India is upbeat. We were in a short period of recession between November and about February, and we were quite despondent because the entire hit had been taken by the manufacturing industry, and that hurt a lot of jobs, both domestic manufacturing and manufacturing for exports. But the government very quickly put in some fiscal stimuli. They put some packages where they reduced duties, increased allocations for infrastructure, and the market has come back quite quickly, and we're back to about 6.5% growth. The government is shooting for 7%, but I think 6.5 is well within sight. So on the back of that, there was uncertainty because of the elections, and the prognostications, and the pundits were talking about a very fragmented vote and all kinds of odd combinations making up the government. But I think the Indian electorate surprised all of us that they had more common sense than we had, and they voted for stability, voted a strong government in with a clear mandate. We now expect at least 2 or 3 things out of this government. One is to push the reform forward. Reform has many facets to it. At the state level, in running a company, operating a company, there's been no change. We still need about 28 regulations to clear before we start a company. So we'd like to see the state level reform in organizing manufacturing to go forward. We would like to see some disinvestment in public sector companies to raise at least one-time money down to 51, not privatization, but at least less government holding, just to raise money for the government. We'd like to see FDI opened up in sectors, maybe in a graduated scale because of politics, but definitely at least move forward in that direction. Because that would give a very strong signal that India is open for business. It may not be the amount of money that comes in, but I think it has other significant impact on global investors' confidence in India.
Indeed. Well, we talk a lot about global investment in India, but in fact, India is investing overseas in increasing quantities, we find, and we're pleased to hear from the latest reports that the United Kingdom is still a major target for Indian investment. Indeed, India is now the 2nd biggest investor in the United Kingdom. Does this tell us that we are entering a new era in India-UK commercial and investment relations? Do you think that we've got do you think we're running ahead of ourselves and being too optimistic, or what's the sense of your delegation?
Well, I would say that we have certainly taken a huge stride forward in the last couple of years with Chorus, Tetley, JLR going forward, and many smaller companies that we don't know about. But I think it is certainly a very significant change in the relationship from India only being a receiver of capital, know-how, management, now that India can also be a provider. But I think going forward, we shouldn't get too euphoric, because I think there's one major area that we need to crack, and that is services. And in services, there is going to be a demand from India on reciprocity or recognition of qualifications, degrees, CAs, lawyers, nurses, and so on and so forth. And if that happens, I think it will herald a very, very new era for India-UK relations, because I think India-UK has a lot to provide India with, and India can provide intelligent people who've got similar qualifications to what there is in the UK. And there can be partnerships, there can be people moving, there can be many, many great opportunities. And the greatest thing that England left behind, or UK left behind, was the English language, and therefore it's quite easy to do business. The laws are still largely founded on English common law, so that's also reasonably easy.
Yes, there's clearly a considerable level of comfort in the relationship, and that I think has not led to the results which many of us would have expected even 8, 10, 12 years ago after the first round of reforms. But I'm sure that your note of caution about over-optimism, it's not all going to happen. There's going to have to be a major effort, I think, on both sides, opening up, in particular, these questions of reciprocal recognition of qualifications. But it seems to me, at least, that with your new government clearly feeling very confident with the remarks Mr. Sharma has made this morning about wanting to make progress both at the multilateral and at the bilateral level, that there's now a strong political will to really see a change there. So I hope that you're right. I hope we move into a new era very soon. Thank you very much, Mr. Srinivasan, for being with us.
Thank you very much.